The memory remains, Steve. Metallica's our artist of the day. You know, the memory of 2 years ago rings through all of our minds. It's a great moment in Syracuse history when they won the TBT and a guy who has no ties to Syracuse whatsoever hit the game-winning shot.
Memory remains from last year, too. Getting knocked out by the nerd team.
Yeah,
there might be a
way to bring that up.
I bring it up because there might be a rematch this year. And to talk about the Syracuse Regional and all things TBT, we bring on our TBT expert, Andrew Zoldan, host, producer of Inside TBT podcast. Andrew, thanks so much for coming on. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me. Always excited to talk some Boeheim's Army and TBT. Ready to roll.
All right, so with that in mind, we obviously want to talk about this Syracuse Regional, which starts July 24th down at the War Memorial here in Syracuse. We saw the bracket was released. Cuse gets the 2 seed. I don't think anybody's all that surprised about that, given that Blue Collar U won the whole thing last year. The nerd team again in this bracket, and they gave Boeheim's Army some trouble last year. What do you make of this bracket, Andrew? And I guess in particular these top 4 teams that are in this bracket.
Yeah, well, I think that, I said this on the selection show, if there was an overall number 1 seed in TBT, it would be this Blue Collar U team because they are absolutely incredible, and they bring back basically the same exact team where they're 9-0 when they have their full roster. The Buffalo alumni locked into that 1 seed. Boeheim's Army is the 2 seed. It's a little bit interesting. Obviously, they lost to the nerd team last year, but I think it's pretty funny because in this region, you kind of have the last 3 champs. You got 2022 Blue Collar U, you got 2021 Boeheim's Army, and you got 2020 with the Golden Eagles players in Bikes and Wilson that are on the Boeheim's Army team. So I think it's a retooled, reloaded Boeheim's Army team. We'll see if the rematch happens with the nerd team, but I also think a team to keep an eye on is that 6 seed Happy Valley Hoopers, the Penn State alumni. They got a great squad. They're coming in with some guys fresh off of their, March Madness appearance, one of the best seasons in Penn State history. They want to keep that momentum going. So I wouldn't be shocked if round 2 is Boeheim's Army versus Happy Valley Hoopers.
All right. You mentioned Blue Collar U, and you said that they are loaded 9-0 when they play healthy. When they're completely healthy, they're 9-0. What makes them so good? What is it about the makeup? And we know they've got talent, but what is it about the makeup of the team as a whole that makes them so good when they're playing and clicking on all cylinders?
Well, they're like 95% Buffalo alumni. And I think they're also 95% Buffalo alumni that played together in college. They went on, crazy March Madness runs. So they're experienced and they're together and playing and hanging out all the time. So, yes, they only get together to compete, competitively in this tournament once a year. But they're like what feels closest to a real team. Like, I feel like these guys could go and play in, like, pro-ams across the country all year and put together something special with that. But I think they're just really, really, really unified. They play well together. They don't have any selfish players except, Wes Clark. He's definitely not selfish, but, like, he's the guy. Hey, just shoot the ball as many times as you need to. Hit a bunch of shots. We need you to step up. And everyone on the team knows that that's his role, and he knows that that's his role. And that's why they've been so successful. They play well together. Their roles are defined, and they're really, really, really good.
Looking at the roster makeup of Boeheim's Army now, Andrew, I was a little surprised to see the addition of Pascal Chukwu and Rakeem Christmas is on there as well. And in watching the TBT, it seems like the role of the center is a little bit diminished in this tournament. And, we're seeing it across basketball right now that, you want big guys who can step out and shoot. And that is not Pascal Chukwu, obviously. He's 7'3", 7'4", whatever he is. He's blocking shots, but he's not really all that much of a threat on the offensive end. Were you surprised that they added not 1 but 2 bona fide centers on their roster?
I was not surprised. You've seen some teams in TBT really be able to be successful by going through, the center spot. Specifically the Florida TNT team, who's now merged with Challenge ALS. They're Challenge ALS Florida. They have Keith Clanton, their big man, and he absolutely dominates TBT, and they make a deep run every year. So if you have a big man that can, get the ball in the post, turn, score, get an easy bucket, rebound, not be a liability on defense, then it's a huge, huge, huge advantage. Guard play, is the number one thing in TBT, but guard play plus a big that you can rely on around the basket is super crucial.
When you look at the rest of the makeup of that roster, what stands out to you about Boeheim's Army?
Yeah, well, I'm excited about Kai Battle making his debut. That excites me. I think Syracuse fans should be really excited about that. And, no disrespect to any of the guys, but the guys that are not back from last year that they've replaced with, the Golden Eagles players, the veterans, the champions. I mean, you just got a lot of championship pedigree and championship caliber players on the team between Kane, Bikes, Wilson. McCullough was on the team when they won the championship. It really feels like a team of, former TBT champions that know what you have to do to win TBT. So that's what would excite me is, you got these guys that are exciting Syracuse guys, and, you mentioned Pascal, Tyus Battle, like I said, but then you also have guys who have won it and done it multiple times. And that's what excites me is that if any of these guys win the championship, they're not going to be like, wow, how did we do that? That was such a crazy run. They're going to be like, hey, we've been here before, and we're going to be here again.
I'm glad you brought that up, Andrew, because, listen, we all know experience in any sport at any level is important, but I feel like with this tournament, it's unique, it's different, and, we know the Elam ending, and it seems like it takes a certain type of toughness to win this tournament, right? You got to be talented, but you got to be tough. You got to be able to persevere, overcome adversity, all that good stuff. How much does that experience matter? I feel like it may matter more in this tournament than maybe in some other situations, just given the style of play and again the format of this thing.
Yeah, experience it totally matters, like you're saying. But I would say another big thing in this tournament is being able to let yourself celebrate after a crazy win, being able to let yourself celebrate after a crazy Elam ending finish. But then also having the guys that are like, hey, that was awesome. That's why this tournament is so great. But we got 3 more to win, or we got 5 more to win. So experience is one thing, but also like being able to enjoy it is another. You get to play in front of your, alumni fans again. We had Jimmy Boeheim on the selection show talking about, how great it is to put the Syracuse orange back on. So you really have to enjoy it as well. So experience is one thing, but then also being able to take a step back and be like, wow, this is awesome. We're playing in front of the Syracuse fans again. We have a chance to, do something we didn't do when we were in school, which is win a championship. And you also get a little bit of bread at the end if you win, which makes guys excited too.
Yeah, no doubt. And as you mentioned, these Syracuse guys will get a chance to play in front of the hometown fans for, as much as 3 games, as long as they keep advancing down at the War Memorial. What is it about this tournament, Andrew, that fans, not just here in Syracuse, but fans across the country have kind of fallen in love with, each and every summer?
Yeah, so I think to the casual fan, and I don't mean casual in the sense that they don't know what's going on. I mean casual in the sense that they don't have a team. I think those fans really like the quality of play. They like how similar it is to, the college product and the overseas product, because all these guys are, hooping overseas or in the G League or in the NBA. So the product is just so great that the casual fans like it. But then the fans of, alumni teams or causes, it's like, wow, we remember these guys. These guys were stars. I have so many memories. I was in college when this guy was playing. I was, taking my kid to games when these guys were playing. And the fact that you get to watch that again, and it's not like let's just gather around, we'll throw a couple alley-oops off the backboard and goof around for an alumni game. It's a real game wearing the real colors, and that's so fun and exciting for the fans.
All right, Andrew, great stuff. We're looking forward to it. Again, July 24th, the Syracuse Regional gets underway down at the War Memorial at On Center. Andrew, thanks so much for coming on, and hopefully we can talk again as the TBT gets closer.
Absolutely. Happy to come on whenever. I got to get out to Cabela's and play 9 holes.
There you go.
18. It sounds great.
All right, Andrew. Thanks so much for coming on. Andrew Zoldan, host producer of the Inside TBT podcast. And with that, we're going to hit a timeout. We're going to sweep the nation next, right,
Steve?
Paulie?
I am going to give away tickets to see the Counting Crows. Hold on. Hold, please. last minute. Counting Crows at the St. Joseph's Health Amphitheater. Thanks to our friends at Live Nation. The show is Saturday, July 1st at 7:30. If you'd like to go to the Counting Crows, maybe you'd like to go with Mr. Jones.
Hit us up right now. 315-437-7644. We got a pair of tickets.
I got a question for you, Steve, that I'm going to ask you to lead off next segment. So get your brain ready.
Okay.
It's a funny joke that I came up with that ties back to great moments in Orange Nation history. But the question will be easy for you if you know New York State history.
New York State history.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Time out here. We're going to sweep the nation next on ESPN Radio.
Sunday night.